they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no lie, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Hello, Nene, We the People, Anita Harrell. All right, Charlene is in the virtual building. Let's get into it, Deronda. All right, shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. A big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they stay putting in work. I see you, Nessa G, Queen Sam. All right, Volvo to Love is here. All right, We the People, Desmond. Okay, so with that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor, and then we'll get right into it.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And she also sells beard oil. Okay, and don't forget Christmas is coming up, so she'll likely have some sales. All right, now let's get into it because Dan Bongino is leaving the FBI. Now, he was asked about this some time ago. I believe it was back in January. And he didn't give any conclusive answers. He, in fact, made it seem as though he wasn't leaving. But now we find out that he absolutely is. And now all I'm waiting on is Cash Patel. Okay, I'm waiting for Cash Patel to exit stage left because he clearly is not doing anything, okay, beneficial. Where are all these investigations? They keep talking about investigations. No one's been arrested. Who's catching the traffickers? Okay, how many cases do we need him to bungle? All right, before we get him out of there. Okay, so anyway, excuse me. Okay, so Bongino to at MS Now News. When I asked him for comment on story saying that he's leaving his position in January, he said, print whatever you'd like. No one believes you anyway. And then this was at 12:55 p.m., mind you. And then here we are at 5:16 p.m. He says, I will be leaving my position in January. Okay, I'll be leaving my position with the FBI in January. I want to thank President Trump, AG Bondi, and Director Patel for the opportunity to serve with purpose. Most importantly, I want to thank you, my fellow Americans, for the opportunity and ability to serve you. And then they say Bongino couldn't handle the pressure. Now he runs back to yelling conspiracies that he knows aren't true into a microphone for cash to double down Neanderthals. Oh, I'm sorry, to dumbed down. Okay, for cash to dumb down Neanderthals. And so basically talking about he's going back on his podcast where he spewed and spouted conspiracy theories. That's what the person's basically saying. Carolina Leonig said, the president at Real Donald Trump has confirmed our reporting that Bongino is leaving and explains why. Says Dan did a great job. I think he wants to go back to his show. So they say he's leaving to go back to podcasting, which I find interesting that someone who was a podcast host was in the position in the first place. Now, just in, Jeffrey Epstein accomplice and former girlfriend Ghislaine Maxwell files habeas corpus petition challenging her federal trafficking convictions. Okay, and she is not presented by any attorney in this filing. Now, I find that interesting. Why does Ghislaine think that she should be out? Why does she think that she needs to be out of prison? Likely because Trump said that it was all just a Democratic hoax. All right. That's likely why. I'm going to go to her petition. It's 50 pages long. I'm just going to read the last couple of pages. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go. Okay, so here's what it says. Let me put on my spectacles. Okay, it says a petitioner has been singled out and harshly treated like no other inmate. Her phone calls were leaked to a third party in Brooklyn. Her emails leaked in Bryan. No other similarly situated remand inmates with no criminal history facing similar charges were similarly treated. Okay, P. Diddy, for example, was placed in general population. Not that she's bringing up Diddy. Anyway, petitioner's treatment was in direct response to Epstein's death at MCC. AG Barr testified that he was responsible for setting the terms of petitioner's detention. AG Barr admitted that there was a need to find someone to charge. Paragraph 58, line 19, transcript. Okay, skip past all that. They say the inmate must show that her pretrial conditions amount to punishment, either by an express intention to punish or showing that the conditions are not reasonably related to a legitimate goal. And then they reference the case of Bell versus Wolfish. Okay, I don't know what Ghislaine Maxwell is thinking she's going to get out of this, because I can tell you right now, she better not get out of prison. Okay. Now, Trump might be plotting to pardon her because she did him a favor by saying he didn't do anything wrong, or that she never saw him do anything wrong. But that would definitely be frowned upon, in my opinion, because we know this lady's a whole trafficker. Now, Ghislaine is seeking to vacate, set aside, or correct her conviction and sentence on federal trafficking charges linked to an sexual exploitation scheme by Jeffrey Epstein. And this is all according to the petition that she filed. So the petition for a writ of habeas corpus filed in federal court in the Southern District of New York seeks to challenge her conviction over what the petition describes as substantial new evidence. Okay, we've heard her talking about substantial new evidence for a while now. Where is this evidence? Okay, because she's not talking about these files that have been put out and released, is she? Because I didn't see anything in there exonerating her. That's all I'm saying. Now, at least from not what they released. Now, among the issues raised in the petition are allegations of juror misconduct, collusion between victims' attorneys and the government, and violations of due process rights. The evidence cited in the document comes in part from litigation against the Federal Bureau of Prisons, financial institutions, and Epstein's estate. The petition alleges that exculpatory information was withheld, false testimony presented. Oh, yeah, hers. Okay, she clearly perjured herself more than once, and material facts misrepresented to the jury and the court. Now, they say the cumulative effect of these constitutional violations constitutes a complete miscarriage of justice, rendering petitioner's conviction invalid, unsafe, and infirm. Now, the Justice Department not immediately responded to a request for comment. The petition was filed pro se, indicated that Maxwell is representing herself in the proceedings. Now, Maxwell, age 63, was convicted in 2021 on multiple trafficking charges, including conspiracy to entice minors to travel to engage in illegal acts, conspiracy to transport minors to participate in illegal acts, and trafficking of a minor. She's serving a 20-year sentence at a minimum security camp in Texas. Maxwell previously appealed her conviction on the grounds that a prosecution agreement that Epstein reached with authorities in Florida should apply to her case in New York. She's talking about that sweetheart deal that Alex Acosta gave Epstein. She sounds crazy. Okay, why would that apply to her? Now, in a letter this month, Maxwell's attorney said a request from the Justice Department to unseal grand jury records from her criminal case would create undue prejudice and prevent the possibility of a fair trial or retrial with her conviction to be overturned, or where her conviction is to be overturned. Now, a federal judge granted the Justice Department request, ordering the release of transcripts, exhibits, and other materials pursuant to the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which President Donald Trump signed into law November the 19th. Okay, and they gave them until December the 19th to release files. Maxwell and her attorney met with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche for 9 hours over the summer amid public backlash to the Justice Department's review of Epstein-related files. The review concluded that Epstein's 2019 death, while he was awaiting trial on trafficking charges, was a self-deletion, and that he did not maintain an incriminating client list used to blackmail prominent people. Maxwell told Blanche that she never witnessed Trump acting inappropriately with anyone. According to a transcript of the conversation released by the Justice Department, she was moved from a low-level Florida prison to the minimum security camp shortly after her interview with Blanche. And I'm sure we all know why. Okay? We all know why. This woman really thinks she's getting up out of here. But girl, you're not. Okay? At least you better not. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about this Epstein stuff that's supposed to have been released at midnight. They said it would be dropped at midnight, so let's get into it. Lights up, everyone, please. We'll go now to the CBS News report.
Covers Congress for Notice, represents News of the U.S. Nicholas Wu, same beat, Congress for Politico. Great to have you here. Thanks for joining me. Daniela, before we get to healthcare, we've talked a lot about that during the show. Tomorrow's a big day with the Epstein files. What are the expectations lawmakers have about what they will or won't see?
I spoke to dozens of lawmakers this week, Major, who don't know what they're going to see when these files drop, presumably at midnight. That's the last possible moment that the Department of Justice...
So their expectation is the Trump Justice Department will wait until the very last moment.
Their expectation is yeah, exactly that. Also, that maybe there will be a lot of redactions in this these files, a lot of names won't be included, possibly the president's name, who we saw in that Vanity Fair piece earlier this week. Susie Wiles, his chief of staff, admit that he might potentially be named in whatever we see
Didn't do
tomorrow.
anything awful, but is in the files that she has read.
Yeah, so
that's what she said on the record.
And the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, you mentioned this earlier in the show, have been doing a drip of files that they got from the Epstein estate that has been pretty shocking, very uncomfortable files. We've seen very famous, prominent people pictured with Epstein, including President Donald Trump, who was then, very billionaire Donald Trump of New York. But it's going to be, regardless of what we see, newsworthy, because it's either we see some very damning information or it's going to be that they didn't actually reveal much, and the MAGA-based Democrats that have been fighting for this are going to be disappointed. I mean, it's going to be potentially lose-lose.
I have to absolutely agree. Okay, I don't think it's going to be anything beneficial. That's just my opinion. Okay, so the Justice Department is set to release several 100,000 records from the Jeffrey Epstein files today, according to a top official, ahead of a deadline to unveil the documents under a new law. Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, told Fox News that the department would unveil an initial tranche of files on Friday, okay, with more expected over the next couple of weeks. Now, the law known as the Epstein Files Transparency Act requires the Justice Department to publicly release all of the files in the government's possession by December the 19th. The statute allows the department to withhold certain narrow categories of records, including personal information of survivors and files related to ongoing prosecution. Now, President Trump spent months opposing the release, arguing the Epstein case was a diversion tactic by Democrats and pressing Republicans to drop the issue before reversing course and signing the law. CBS News has a team of journalists who will comb through the files and highlight notable discoveries. Okay, y'all hear this? So CBS is going to go through the files and find out what we need to know. Yeah, I find that very interesting, don't you? Find that very interesting. And speaking of the Epstein files, did y'all know the U.S. is suing the Virgin Islands? Where Epstein's island was, mind you. U.S. government sues U.S. Virgin Islands and accuses officials of violating the Second Amendment. Now, a Second Amendment clash has erupted between the federal government and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The U.S. government sued U.S. territory, its police department, and police commissioner Mario Brooks all on Tuesday, accusing them of obstructing and systematically denying American citizens the right to possess and carry guns. Now, the U.S. Virgin Islands requires that applicants demonstrate good reason to fear death or great injury to his person or property, and to have two credible persons to vouch for their character and for their need for a firearm. Local law also requires that someone have good moral character to obtain a gun permit, which is valid for up to 3 years and applies to a single weapon. Now, the lawsuit, because they have stricter gun laws than America. The lawsuit states that no specific standard has been set or defined for the requirement of character. It also claims that the defendants regularly refuse to issue permits to those who by law are deemed to be an improper person by the territory's police commissioner, they say. So the lawsuit states that those in the U.S. territory also must submit to intrusive and warrantless home searches as one condition to obtain a gun permit. And if an applicant refuses a home inspection, which takes several months to a year to schedule and complete, the government will not process the request, according to a lawsuit. Okay, so they clearly don't want guns. Now, it also notes that the police department denies firearms licenses to the otherwise qualified applicants whenever it deems that the applicant has too many firearms. Okay, in addition, the lawsuit accuses the U.S. Virgin Islands of demanding that applicants unnecessarily spend money to install a safe and that it be bolted to the floor or the wall of their home. The lawsuit accuses the defendants of defying binding Supreme Court precedent to frustrate the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding American citizens. It notes that those citizens have a fundamental right to possess guns in their homes and carry handguns publicly for the purpose of immediate self-defense. The lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It asks that a judge find that the defendants are violating the Second Amendment and seeks an injunction to prohibit them from implementing local laws tied to the insurance of firearm licenses. The U.S. Virgin Islands government said in a statement late Tuesday that it is reviewing the lawsuit and taking the allegations seriously. It noted that the administration of Governor Albert Bryan Jr. and Lieutenant Governor Tregenza A. Roach is committed to protecting constitutional rights. Okay, so what do y'all think about that? They're committed to protecting constitutional rights while maintaining public safety. And the statement said that the allegations would be addressed in court and that no further comment would be issued. The lawsuit was filed as the administration of U.S. President Donald Trump pushes to expand gun rights. Last year, Trump claimed that the Second Amendment was under siege and described himself as the best friend gun owners ever had in the White House. What do y'all think about that? About them suing them over their strict policies with guns? Troy says law-abiding citizens suffer while the criminals have weapons. What a joke. Well, you could say that, beloved. You absolutely could. Okay, now we're going to talk about talk more about Bongino in a minute, but let's go to this report where Lawrence O'Donnell, okay, America's worst public speaker, talking about Trump, mind you, America's worst public speaker struggled mightily reading a teleprompter full of lies, you see. Okay, when is Trump ever not lying? Likely when he's asleep. Okay, that's the only time his mouth's likely shut.
America's worst public speaker struggled mightily reading a teleprompter full of lies tonight. His speech, if we can call it that, in it, Donald Trump said that when he took office, quote, inflation was the worst in the history of our country. That is a lie, a typical Trump lie. Inflation was at 3% when Donald Trump took office. Inflation is at 3% right now. Donald Trump said that when he took office, we had, quote, transgender for everybody. That would mean that Donald Trump is transgender. That would mean that everybody is transgender. It is, of course, Trumpian madness. We did not have transgender for everybody. Donald Trump said, I was elected in a landslide. That is a lie. Donald Trump won by 1.5% of the vote. Donald Trump said they released violent felons, meaning the Biden administration. No president in history has released more violent felons in one day than Donald Trump did on his inauguration day when he pardoned every violent felon who attacked the Capitol on January 6th for him to try to overturn a presidential election for him.
Exactly, and the nerve of him. Okay, 1,500 crooks, criminals, thieves, and thugs, all right? And domestic terrorists to boot.
Donald Trump said that tariffs is, quote, my favorite word. Donald Trump lied when he said we made a lot more money because of tariffs. We didn't make any money because of tariffs. America made no money because of that. The Trump tariffs paid to the United States Treasury have all been paid in the United States by Americans. The federal government has simply taken money away from Americans through the Trump tariffs. Americans have had to take money out of their pockets to pay for the Trump tariffs in this country. This is the first time that Donald Trump made a public reference to tariffs without telling the lie that foreign countries pay his tariffs. And Donald Trump lied about the Democrats, saying Democrats are demanding increases in health insurance costs. Donald Trump delivered his speech in a monotone anger. He seemed to be angry at the truth.
Not angry at the truth. I would have to agree. Now, there is some leaked audio from Trump. There's some leaked audio from Trump when he was trying to get pressuring the Speaker of the Georgia House of Representatives to basically overturn his election loss. All on audio. Just such a crooked president.
I've got some of my people looking at that because frankly, that was a theory of us coming into session that we had not considered. We have been thinking that we had to travel down the road of having 3/5 of the House members, which we couldn't get.
By the way, you do it to uncover fraud. You could say for transparency and to uncover fraud, possible fraud. So who's going to stop you for that? You know, it's like
a federal judge.
That I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
the office of President of the United States.
we won this thing by 400,000 or 500,000 votes, just like we did Alabama and every other state in the South. And we won your state massively. They took votes away, but it's very beatable. If we had a special session, we will present, and you will say, it's been massive fraud. We're going to turn over the state.
I want Donald Trump to remain the president. If there's any way that we can possibly help in that regard, I'm on board.
Thank you, David.
So
thank you. We won't forget.
Trump said by any means necessary, okay? He had to do what he had to do. Clearly desperate. Okay, clearly desperate. Now, with that all being said, let's get into this whole thing about Bongino. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on, let me pull up this video. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Give me just a second.
I gave up everything for this. I mean, you know, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there he gets in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night. You know, I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. He uses the gym. I work out in my apartment, but I stare at these four walls all day in DC, you know, by myself, divorced from my wife, not divorced, but I mean, separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, you know, we love each other and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work. You're straightening out the FBI, you're moving buildings. There's a lot of change.
I got one more. I mean, I gave up.
Okay, did y'all hear that? Said he sits in there in the four walls every day for 8 to 10 hours or however long. Sir, that's called a job. That's called having a job, sir. Okay, I'm sorry. Make it all make sense. You know, some have said that he's the only one that Trump hired in his administration that was honest. That's what some people seem to think. And they said he's leaving because he actually has integrity. What do y'all think?
This is regarding Dan Bongino. What have you learned?
Well, there have been some very good reporting by others that there are rumors and gossip that Dan Bongino may be on his way out. What we add to this story and reveal is that multiple sources now have said that Bongino told senior FBI officials and his inner team at least a week and a half ago that he was leaving, that his last day in the DC bureau, the headquarters of the FBI, was going to be on December 5th, that some of the, as the Times and Glenn, I think, reported, some of his personal effects have been removed from his office, and that as we report now for the first time, he told these aides that he'll be announcing probably December 19th that he'll be leaving in the new year.
Breaking news. This is regarding Dan Bongino.
All right, so y'all heard that. Now let's go to Senator Jeff Merkley, okay, talking about Trump and these nefarious Epstein files. I'm going to use an overlay because this is actually on his own personal YouTube channel. I don't need any copyright issues.
Smell a rat. Why? The president campaigned on releasing the files. Pam Bondi assured everyone the files would be released. Kash Patel said the files will be given to the public. And yet here we are. Not a single bit of these files has been released. And then what happened? Well, we had over in the House bipartisan leadership with Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie and a discharge petition. And as the discharge petition started to reach the critical number required, the House went on 8 weeks of vacation in order to avoid releasing these files. That's never happened in American history. And then we find, as they were coming back, what happened? An announcement that some new investigations were being launched. That was on November 14th. And on the evening of the 18th, Senator Schumer went to the floor, asked for unanimous consent that the bill from the House be deemed passed when it arrived in the Senate, and unanimous consent was secured from all to send this message. And what happened the next day? Pam Bondi gets up and says, we have this new information to justify new investigations. The timing of that's awfully suspicious. So the leaders in the House and the Senate demanded a meeting. We wrote to Pam Bondi, Ro Khanna, Tom Massie, myself, Ben Ray Lujan, and we were joined, and I welcomed the bipartisanship of Senator Murkowski to say, we want to know what you're up to. Meet with us and explain these new investigations. What is this new evidence? What are you undertaking? And how are you setting forward a plan to make sure all the documents are released on the 30-day notice? We got a response. The response was, we acknowledge receipt of your letter. That's it. So one of the things to watch for is the argument that vast sections had to be redacted in some cases to defend the integrity of some newly invented investigations. One way or another, we anticipate that Trump is going to continue to hide the files that should be released. We must not let it happen. We must not let it happen because we are about accountability for the perpetrators and justice for the victims, and that will not happen unless there is transparency and the documents are released in whole.
You know, quite frankly, that's exactly what I think they're going to do. Okay, they're not going to release anything that's going to really give us any viable information. Okay, that's what they're not going to do. And we should know that because Trump ran his whole campaign talking about releasing those files and then did all the stonewalling that he could for as long as he could, okay, to not have to bring out the information. Now, with that all being said, Representative Jasmine Crockett said Trump sounds like a used car salesman and America's done buying it. Okay, people are starting to wake up. Even some of his own base just knows that he's just a liar who lies at this point.
From Texas, Jasmine Crockett, who's also running the United States Senate. Congresswoman, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you. You heard the president speak tonight. You're hearing from members of the House as well, including the speaker. The president is blaming President Biden for today's problems. Is there any truth to that?
There's no truth. And the American people are done with the con man. I mean, as he stood up today in front of the American people, he sounded like a used car salesman. Like, let me just shout it out. Buy what I'm selling. Yes, this is a lemon. Yes, he is selling nothing but lemons. Right now, I don't think that this really should come down to right or left. As I've been saying over and over, this is about right and wrong. And so if people have questions, just go ahead and call your insurance provider and ask them, what are my insurance premiums going to be? You don't have to go and listen to what the Democrats are telling you. You don't have to listen to what the president is telling you. You can find out for yourself what those premiums are going to be without these subsidies.
But he is suggesting that the split screen is as follows. Everything was horrible under Biden. He called the country dead a year ago, and now he has made everything better. The polls suggest that the American public do not buy it, including Republicans. Why do you think he is putting forth the message that everything is awesome?
He's going to do that because lying has worked for him in the past. And right now, that is what he's trying to do. He is trying to lie his way through. And the only thing that he cares about is making it through these midterms. He is so nervous. That is why they are cheating and going from state to state to state, trying to redistrict. As you heard the speaker saying, no, I haven't lost control of the House. I just have this really slim majority. Well, guess what? The last time that Donald Trump was in and had to go through a midterm, it didn't turn out really well for him. He lost a lot of seats. And right now, no matter how much tricking they do, we are going to win the House. I feel very confident in that because people are over it. They are over the games. When you look at a state like Texas, the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the governor's mansion. Same thing when it comes to the federal level. It's the Republicans that control the House, the Senate, and the White House. So if you are upset because something has changed in your life, whether it's the lack of jobs, because you're trying to tell us everything's peachy, but we know, according to your own numbers, that we have lost approximately 1.1 million jobs. And we also know that they have not been accurately reporting the jobs numbers. So if these are the numbers that you're willing to put out, these numbers are being compared not to a recession, but to Great Recession numbers. And people are feeling that as you have a president saying things like, oh, as Christmas approaches, maybe you just don't buy as many baby dolls. It's okay. Or pencils, right? No. And so I think that the people are really showing up, as we see in these elections, even throughout the South. You see what happened in Miami, the mayoral that had been Republican control for 30 years. It flipped. We are swinging seats no less than 10 points since he has been in office. And so I know that he sees the writing on the wall and he's doing everything that he can to try to lie.
Well, describe that writing on the wall when it comes to healthcare, because you had a small group of Republicans joining with Democrats to force a vote on extending those subsidies for 3 years, which seemed to be a deal breaker just as recently as last week, 2 to 3 years. You also have House Republicans passing a bill that will let the subsidies expire. And, you know, the Senate already rejected both plans last week. Is there, on this wall, is there hope on the horizon that this will change? Because January is a hop, skip, and a jump away, as are those premiums.
No. You know, I would
blunt.
I would love to be your typical politician and give you some excuse. But at the end of the day, people are about to lose their health care. At the end of the day, there are people that are going to die as a result because some people just will not be able to afford to get.
This is absolutely true. And, you know, at the end of the day, speaking of people about to lose their health care, so the Department of Health and Human Services is essentially going to eliminate 7 different grants to the American Academy of Pediatrics. And also there's a story, very interesting story about this Black officer who has kidney failure, and they fired him. Okay, because, you know, his doctor said that he was he was able to be gainfully employed doing light work like desk duty, but they said they didn't have any light work for him. And so they got rid of him, which I thought was so egregious because now that they've done that, that means essentially that he's going to lose his health insurance. Okay? That means he's going to lose his health insurance, sadly. Let's get into this report. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Yeah, Chris, to be clear about what exactly is being cut here, the Department of Health and Human Services is essentially going to eliminate 7 different grants worth millions of dollars to the American Academy of Pediatrics. Just to tick through what some of those things are that they address, they will be eliminating aid to prevent infant mortality, aid to prevent birth defects. We will see essentially an elimination of help to ensure the improvement of health for young adults, early detection of autism. These are all things that are included in these millions of dollars in grants that HHS routinely has provided to the American Association of Pediatrics that will no longer be there anymore. When we reach out to the Department of HHS to really get clarity on this decision that feels really controversial, this is what Andrew Nixon, the HHS spokesperson, told MS Now. He said that these AAP grants were canceled along with a number of other grants to other organizations because they no longer align with the department's mission or priorities. And that's really interesting there that they are saying essentially these grants do not align with the mission or the priorities of HHS. When I asked,
isn't that something now all of a sudden they don't align with the mission of HHS? I wonder why not. What's really going on here? Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, I'm going to that video of the officer if I can find it. Hold on, let's stop right here. Hold on. Okay, let's go to this video. I'm still looking for that other one with the officer. I'll try to find it later.
If you're not black, keep scrolling. I said if you're not black, keep scrolling. This is just for black people. This is a black person conversation right now. So if you comment below, I'm going to let you know you're going to get cussed out because this is a black person conversation. Black people. Okay, so check your skin tone. And if you're not black, keep it moving. Anyway, what the fuck is going on? I mean, were we right or were we right? Okay, this is barbaric. Barbaric. These motherfuckers are crazy. Listen, we tried to tell these hoes, these motherfuckers are crazy. The only humanity that they got is us. Is us. We are the only fucking humanity that these motherfuckers got. They don't understand that if black people like us, you know what I'm saying, was actually in position, none of this shit would have ever happened. None of it. They are destroying themselves. And this isn't the first time. This is not the first time, y'all. It may be the last time, but remember when white people were so clean? You remember? They used to have this clean, pristine image. Oh, we never do anything. We're this, we're that, we're these people. It's those barbaric people. It's the Mexicans. It's the blacks. It's the this. It's the that. Bruh, taking babies off of fucking cancer care? Like, how barbaric can you be? I mean, the Gaza. Fucking Gaza. This would have never happened if black people were in power. Never. Never. Oh my God. And the fact that we gotta stay in this motherfucker, like, give us $1 million. Give all of us $1 million. We out, right? We out this motherfucker, right? We not even making it difficult for them. Pay us what the fuck we worth, give us our reparations, and get the fuck up out of this motherfucker, this ghetto-ass motherfucking land. You can add this shit. Do you see how crazy these motherfuckers are? They talking about polluting the air again. They talking about fucking the water up again, stripping healthcare. I'm telling you, thank God we are the only humanity that we have. But one thing we got to do is we're going to have to look out for one another. If we don't have food in our house, man, make sure that your neighbor got some food. Make sure that your neighbor's kids is okay, and that, you know, if someone gets sick, we start finding remedies. Let's go back to our African spiritual roots, y'all. I think it's time that we start researching that stuff. This Christianity slave mentality shit ain't gonna work. I'm sorry. Not saying Christianity is bad. Love the God that you love. But what I'm saying is there are some things that we are not attached to that us as a people need to get attached to. We need to start loving each other. Again, we need to start saying hello to each other. Again, we need to start building community. We need to start bonding on more than just a cellular level or a virtual level. We need to start seeing each other for when we see each other in the streets. We need to start being each other's conscious. We need to get in touch with each other again, because we're going to need it. This is bigger than a physical battle, y'all. This is going to be a battle of the mind. This man is trying to erase any and everything about us, our history, and our existence, and trying to rewrite it in real time in 2025. And it's us as the truth bearers, who we are, our ancestors who bled on this land and whose spirits still reside with us. It's up to us to tap into all of that we have and save what we have left. You know what I'm saying? And I believe when God calls us, when God says that name and he blows that horn, we are going to be ready. But our spirits got to be right and our minds got to be right. And watch out for these crazy motherfuckers, okay?
Correct. He can't commit enough. Donald Trump is being treated with. This is a masterclass in white privilege. Trump can't say enough to be racist. Correct. He can't commit enough crimes to be a criminal. He can't fail enough to be a failure. And he can't say enough stupid things to be stupid. He is so shielded and insulated by the idea and the concept of whiteness that he is unfucking touchable. Yeah. The thought conjured around him matters more than any reality. Any reality. He is a Christian that doesn't know the Bible, that fucks porn stars, that grabs women by the pussy. Grabs women by the pussy, is the least Christ-like. But the sheer promise of the whiteness that exists inside of Donald Trump is enough for everyone, white and black people, a lot of them who worship whiteness and aspire to the level of whiteness that Trump has. It's enough for them to say, hey, he's still our guy.
I absolutely agree. Because what Donald Trump represents, they're absolutely right. And what they're basically saying is that Donald Trump, is protecting whiteness. Okay, that's why they're going to go along with him, because he's protecting their whiteness. He's getting rid of everything about our history. Okay, not allowing people to get into the parks for free on MLK Day and Juneteenth. Instead, saying they can get in for free on his birthday. Trump, sit down somewhere, okay? Sit down somewhere. Now let's talk about this Brown University shooting suspect, okay? Because they say that he's killed himself. All right, they say that he has taken himself up out of here. The FBI did a terrible job, a piss poor job with this investigation, in my humble opinion.
University's campus with more. Good morning, Brian. Good morning. Well, as Nate was just saying, police credit an anonymous tipster who called into the tip line on Tuesday saying, frankly, that he had seen the shooter in the area just a couple hours before the shooting. That tipster also wrote on Reddit a description of a vehicle, a gray Nissan with Florida plates just a couple blocks away from the engineering and physics building here on Brown University. Well, that anonymous tipster happens to also be the same man police released images of, and we're asking the public to help identify because of how close he was seen walking by the shooter in surveillance video. His name is John, a homeless man and former Brown University student who 2 hours before the shooting locked eyes with the gunman in the bathroom in the basement area across from the classroom where the shooting took place. John said he was suspicious of Claudio Neves Valente and followed him out of the building into the neighborhood where the two played a game of cat and mouse. This surveillance video shows the gunman running away from John, who was following him. John saw the gunman unlock his car, notice him, relock his car, and walk away. John confronts the shooter and says, "Your car is back there. Why are you circling the block?" The suspect responds, "Why are you harassing me?" Now, based on this tip, investigators say they reviewed surveillance footage and found a car matching that same description. Police then used flock cameras, license plate readers to identify the car. Neves Valente said they said that he put a Maine license plate over his Florida license plate, which made it a little bit difficult. But eventually, police traced that car to an Alamo car rental company in Boston. They matched the images, they traced the name, and that's where they were able to trace this Neves Valente, to a storage unit under his name in Salem. Now, yesterday, I pressed police as to why a citizen is the person who noticed and grew suspicious of Neves Valente when this person was here for at least a couple of weeks and walking around. Listen.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Why did it take a citizen to notice a suspicious person right next to Brown University and not the police? And also, how long was the vehicle parked where it was? And was it days, hours, minutes?
It appeared to be days as far as the evidence. Why would a civilian observe that to be suspicious? It's a great point. And I like the fact that you're mentioning that and bringing that up. That's what we should all be doing, right? And it's just personality. Some people are more interested in finding out what others are doing. In this particular case, this person decided that he wanted to, and I'm glad he did.
Investigators described John as an extremely articulate witness. John does happen to be a homeless man who was, we're told by a source, living in the basement area of the Barris Holly Engineering and Physics building, which of course opens up a whole new set of questions about the security of that building and why that was happening. But right now, John is the hero, and the AG says he deserves every bit of that $50,000 reward. Guys?
Yeah, clearly. I mean, Brian, he had the wherewithal and the information that led police directly to the suspect, and they praised him as they should. But you raised the question, why was a homeless man allowed to live in the basement of this college facility where this shooting eventually took place?
Yeah, it really brings up a lot of questions about the lack of security in that building. And the Brown University president, Christina Paxson, was pushed last night hard about this. We know in the affidavit that there are only 2 cameras outside of this building, and there was no security guard at this building, which was not atypical. So this building was never guarded. There weren't enough cameras. So obviously, it was so unguarded that they allowed somebody to live a homeless man to live in the building, an academic building. So again, John's a hero, but that brings up questions about security.
He is a hero in this case, but Brian, they also have to grapple with something else. The shooting takes place that Saturday. Sunday, they arrest and then cut loose this person of interest. Initially, they told us that there was no connection between the shooting and that happened on that Monday. But now that we know that there is a connection, they gave him some time because they stopped the search, right?
You know, they'll push back and say ultimately that was 24 hours and they were still looking at every single lead. But I will tell you this, the timeline that also is something that we got to really drill in on here is that a custodian in the Brown University Engineering and Physics building noticed Claudio Neves Valente on November 28th. That's 2 weeks before the shooting. So again, if a custodian thought that this person looked suspicious 2 weeks before, this person is walking around campus in and out of a building, where was Brown University police? Where was the anybody patrolling that would have said, you know what, let me ask this guy some questions? And that's really, that where the timeline, where a lot of questions are, Lawrence.
Yeah. So the other thing, do you think this homeless guy is eligible for the $50,000?
According to the Attorney General, he thinks that he should get every dollar of it. I don't see why. I think it would be very hard pressed, because without John, I don't think we're here today. I mean, he's the one that described the vehicle. Without the vehicle, they don't know who this is, and they don't find the connection to MIT. At least not yesterday.
Wow. And we know he went to school with this guy in Portugal, and we know that he was probably spent a lot of time in that building in 2000 to 2001, that 1 year he spent at Brown. So those are indeed the connections. We'll probably find out his life fell apart in Miami.
All right, Brian, thanks so much for joining the program. So the other thing they have to grapple with is that his visa overstay. I mean, we got to monitor this. We can't just have it. Most of the people that are in the country illegally right now are because of visa overstay. So if someone would have been proactive, followed up on this visa overstay.
Right. And then now Trump supposedly has ended the program that allowed the shooter to enter the country in the first place.
Then this could have prevented. Of course, you got the cameras also as a part of that. Of course, you got the eyewitness accounts that they should have reacted more swiftly on that, but just a massive failure.
And yesterday, Lawrence, what you're referring to is that we learned that this suspect entered the U.S. through what's called the Diversity Lottery Immigrant Visa Program in 2017 and was granted a green card as a result. And yesterday, Kristi Noem says that program has officially been suspended. She posted this on X in part. In 2017, President Trump fought to end this program following the devastating New York City truck ramming by an ISIS terrorist who entered under the DV-1 program and murdered 8 people. At President Trump's direction, I am immediately directing USCIS to pause the DV-1 program to ensure no more Americans are harmed by this disastrous program. And this is a program, it's a lottery where about 50,000 immigrants from various countries around the world are selected via computer system to come into this country. I actually know somebody from Nepal who came in this way, and he says that he was shocked when this happened to him, and he didn't even know exactly how his name was entered into this computer system. I mean, it changed his life as a result, and he's doing great work here now. But the president has always said merit-based is better. This is a diversity system, so he wanted to change it in 2017, and now it's suspended today.
Yeah, in September 14th, they said he went from a diversity immigrant visa, and then they said he was lawfully admitted as a legal permanent resident at JFK Airport back in 2017. He ends up in Miami, and sadly, this professor, same age, same time, former classmates, that family probably knows about him. But they had the professor that was killed, who evidently is a genius, was killed with his family, with his kids upstairs. So he gets assassinated. And Lawrence, to your point, I know investigations aren't easy, but did they put their foot off the gas?
They did.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's not even debatable.
Right. So they put the foot off the gas, and then they told everyone, don't worry about it, you're not in danger. Clearly, these people were in danger.
Right.
See what a crazy gunman out there. And then the next thing you know, the professor's dead on Monday. If they're able to pivot a different direction, a more accurate direction, if they're able to get to the building quicker before the shooting stopped, or close to when the shooting stopped and not 10, 20 minutes, maybe that professor's alive today.
They stopped the manhunt. That's the bottom line. And they're going to have to deal with that in the coming days.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News patron.
No, he didn't say become a Fox News patriot. Okay, so y'all hear that? The FBI has clearly been dropping the ball, okay? They have clearly been dropping the ball. Just doing a piss poor job, like I said. Now let's go to this next clip. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
Many black in this room. What else has not been mentioned in this room is the $100,000 house on my street that sold for $137,000. Many black people came and looked at that house, but they were not allowed to buy it. I'm going to tell you why. It was a $100,000 house that was sold for $37,000 more than it was worth because 5 families went on that deed to qualify it financially. Now, you're telling me now that if my son wants to buy a house, he has to go and find 4 additional families to live there so that he can pay this inflated cost. You always hear about the real estate market in California, how it's booming, how it's great. The reason it's great is because illegal aliens are buying every single house in that city. I have had 9 houses in the last 5 years on my street, and not one of those houses has gone to black people. 9 of them for sale. And there have been many blacks who have came and looked at these houses, but they can't buy them. Somehow, they don't qualify. I sense racism here. See, racism isn't just from white folks to black folks. It's from anybody to anybody. And that's what I see happening here. This is out and out racism. It is a definite problem. It's not just the entry-level jobs. It's not just the housing, not just the schooling. Our skilled black workers in Los Angeles cannot find jobs. I'm talking bricklayers. I'm talking concrete. I'm talking roofers. I'm talking framers. I'm talking body and fender men who were making $20 an hour in the 70s, and now they can't get a job in South Central unless they're willing to make $7 or $8 an hour. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And the problem is not being addressed by our elected officials. We have gone to them. We have begged them, please, in this room.
That's right. And they aren't doing a darn thing. Okay, please pay attention. At the end of the day, hold on. Y'all, look at this right here. This is so sad. This is absolutely sad. Now, this crazy arse woman right here is saying that her son, who's just a baby, saying that he's transgender. And she's trying to get medical help for her. Oh, this is all so sad and deplorable.
So here is my transgender baby. Her name is Bella. Bella was born a boy, but now uses she, her pronoun. I am in the middle of trying to get a doctor's appointment in order to secure some medication to stop the male hormone taking over. Bella is 14 months old and is thriving in her new body. Now she's able to be who she was born to be. Trapped in the wrong body at such a young age has had a massive impact on young Bella's mental health. But with the right medication, we are going to get through it as a family. Just secured a grant as well to help Bella in her transition. So all costs have been covered and it's such a relief. She gets to be who she wants to be. This is all she's wanted for years now. And we couldn't be any more happier.
What the hell is wrong with people? Okay. Vovo to Love said Bella can't even talk. Exactly. This is absolutely egregious. Okay. She needs to, this is so crazy. Why are you doing this to this poor child? Okay. Talking about who Bella wants to be. Also egregious at the end of the day, honey. I don't know what is wrong with some people. Okay. Meanwhile, in Texas, you have armed officers and guards, troops, standing in front of the women's restroom. What's going on with that? Y'all don't find that crazy? Hold on, because here's a group of Black people on a panel that are clearly upset because they say that as soon as we don't want to get out there and protest or defend other groups of people, they say that we're divisive. And that's absolutely true. Okay, that's absolutely true. They do say we're divisive. Black people, where y'all at?
Now all of a sudden, the tiny ass population of Asian people in jail. Now all of a sudden, we gotta give a fuck. Now it's some weak shit, and I'm real fucking tired of every time Black people point out the bullshit. Now it's all we're divisive. Now is not the time to be divisive. Division is good when it benefits you. Division is good when it benefits Asians. Division is good when it benefits Latinos. Division is good when it benefits white people. But the minute that Black people point out the fucking disparity, the minute we clock y'all fucking tea, we point out the bullshit, then all of a sudden we're being divisive. No, we're not being divisive. We pointing out your fucking bullshit because y'all benefit from the fucking divisiveness. Y'all talk about, well, we're all fighting the white man where he's keeping us all down. But y'all ain't saying that shit when you getting that fucking money, when you getting them small business loans. The white man ain't keeping you down when you opening up them convenience stores. The white man ain't holding you down when you opening up them hair stores, but you still watching the very niggas that's buying your shit. You ain't worried about the white man then when you benefiting from shit.
Yep.
And then when black people, the only reason you motherfuckers can come here, you think it's because of white people? No, it's because of black people. Imagine being black and knowing your ancestors fought and died for fucking civil rights that you as black people today still don't benefit from. And other motherfuckers fresh off the goddamn boat, take that shit how the fuck you want, because I don't care. Get the benefit from it.
This is all true, and then they get up here and be so disrespectful. Get over here and be hella disrespectful, acting like we're lazy and this and that because they get grants, okay, that they don't have to pay back to open up businesses, come to our neighborhoods, don't want to contribute anything to the community, but yet we support their businesses. Well, I'll say it's our fault. I say it's our fault because if we weren't supporting their businesses, they wouldn't still keep coming and opening up shop. And they're not allowed to go out to the suburbs to the white folks' neighborhoods. Okay. At the end of the day, I think it's high time that we start just boycotting these businesses who are just in our communities and are not contributing anything to our communities and who are being disrespectful to boot. Okay. And we all know who these people are. At the end of the day, we know who owns the gas stations, the corner stores. We already know who these people are, okay? That all being said, I saw no lies detected. But did y'all know? Now, I know you all knew this because I reported this. But they're now bringing this back up to the forefront, how the FBI infiltrated the BLM movement and what they did afterward. Remember when I told you all about the Alphabet Boys? And I did that whole story about it? Well, yeah, they're talking about how they had this one guy who was working with the police and the FBI who was setting people up at these protests. I just want y'all to pay attention to how slick and sneaky they are. Always trying to get black people one way or another, always trying to infiltrate our programs and all of this, that, and the third. Okay? Killing our leaders.
The FBI hired an informant to infiltrate the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests, instigate violence, and entrap activists in crimes, according to an investigative journalist. Informant Michael Vindecker was reportedly paid at least $20,000 to spy on protesters in Denver and turn peaceful protests into violent ones. He gained the trust of protesters and eventually became a leader in the movement and accused the real leaders of working with the authorities while also setting up others to be arrested.
And see, this is what I be talking about when I say that you cannot trust these folk. Okay? How do you know who to trust? How do you know who's a real ally and who isn't? Because sugar and salt look just alike. And by the time you realize that you got the wrong one, it's too late. Okay? I just want y'all to pay attention. Now, he's out here acting like he's working with black people, but all the time working against us. There's plenty that do that. Also, there's plenty of people on TikTok who don't look like me, who also pretend to be pro-black or speaking on the behest of black folk. Now, I'm not saying all of them. Some are actually legit, but there are some who just join the trend, okay, because that's a way for them to make money. Okay, but let's continue. Don't be fooled is all I'm saying.
Trevor Aronson is the host of the podcast Alphabet Boys, which covers how the FBI infiltrated racial justice protests in the summer of 2020. Aronson says the FBI used counterterrorism tactics against protesters.
The FBI used informants or undercover agents to put together terrorism plots that then they could attract people to be a part of, then foil them and announce to the public a terrorism plot foiled. It had been theory that I'd had that they were using these types of tactics that had been perfected during the War on Terror against protesters, but I couldn't prove it. It was something that I was searching for evidence of. And then finally, a source was able to provide me with these records and these recordings that showed how the FBI had taken a violent felon and used him as an informant.
The tactics are similar to another program that the FBI used from the 1950s to the early 70s called the Counterintelligence Program, or COINTELPRO. Under COINTELPRO, the FBI used informants to discredit, spy on, and disrupt political and civil rights organizations in the U.S. Targets included the Black Panther Party, the American Indian Movement, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The intelligence was used to break up marriages, disrupt meetings, cast out people from their professions, and provoke targeted groups into conflicts that in some cases even resulted in death. In 1976, the actions taken under COINTELPRO were found to be illegal, and reforms were passed to regulate government surveillance and internal guidelines. But that all changed after 9/11.
The FBI was granted enormous powers post 9/11 to pursue and find would-be terrorists. And 20 years later, what we're finding is that many of those powers and practices are now being applied against political activists and non-terrorists.
With its restored powers, the FBI was able to have its informant infiltrate the Denver racial justice movement. The Bureau incentivized Vindecker to manufacture crimes that Aronson explained likely would have never happened without his disruption. Windecker eventually went so far as to try and get activists to assassinate the Attorney General of Colorado, but none of them would go along with it.
Now, do y'all hear that? Trying to get the activists to assassinate somebody? This is absolutely crazy. Is that what they think that activists go around doing? Because I can assure you it isn't. Absolutely agree.
And so in the case of Denver, what we have is an informant going in, spying on Americans who are not committing crimes, and then also encouraging Americans to commit violence that without the government's agent, they likely would not have done at all. Would there have been as much violence were it not for the government agent pushing for that violence and encouraging that violence? That's not something we can fully measure, but I do think it's quite troubling that we even have to ask the question, how much of the government's behavior in an undercover capacity resulted in some of the violence?
A lot of it, okay? I told you all back then when the protest was going on in 2020 that they were bringing busloads of agitators there, okay, dropping them off. There was even one lady exposed her husband, who was a whole police officer, for dropping off loads of bricks, okay, for people to throw through the windows and all of that. So we knew that they were doing this stuff to try to make Black people look bad, coming there, starting fires, looting and rioting and all of that, just so it can be blamed on us. I mean, they literally showed white folk leaving out of some of the stores with items in their hands, and then they tried to make excuses for them. If you all remember the lady who was caught cold busted in a retail store with a trash bag, filling it up with items she was stealing clearly. And then one of the newscasters said, oh, well, maybe she works there and came in because the alarm went off and she's trying to clean up or something like that, they said, which was so nonsensical. It was obvious that she was stealing. Okay, that's what she was doing, but they always want to put that on Black folk. Okay, please pay attention. I find it all so egregious. Absolutely egregious. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this last video clip right here. And then we got to talk about this lady who was in Walmart, I believe it was, putting razors and all kind of stuff in food. Just absolutely crazy.
Need to anymore. Once the United States government didn't stop killing Black leaders because they had some moral awakening. They stopped because they didn't need to anymore. Once they wiped out the radicals, Malcolm, MLK, Fred Hampton, all of them, the revolution got cut off at the knees. After that, why waste a bullet when you can just kill a movement before it even starts? By the 80s, they swapped out Black power for Black profit. They handed out a few golden tickets, made sure there were just enough rich and famous Black faces to sell the idea that the system works. Instead of liberation, they handed out contracts, endorsements, executive positions. Instead of Black power, they gave them Black excellence. And look, ain't nobody saying Black folks shouldn't be successful. But success inside the system is not the same as dismantling it. They let a few through the gates just as long as they played by the rules. And those rules, stay in line. Talk about personal success, not collective struggle. Build a brand, not a movement. They don't got to assassinate anyone when they can just buy them out. Or better yet, turn them into a joke. Look at what they did to Colin Kaepernick. Stood up for something, got blackballed out of the league. Angela Davis spent decades on FBI watch lists. Fred Hampton, they learned their lesson from him. Don't let him get big enough to matter in the first place. So now they just lock them up before they can get too loud. Call them terrorists, call them extremists, turn them into a headline, a mugshot, a social media circus. And for the rest, they dangle the American dream in front of them like a carrot. Work hard, climb the ladder, keep your head down, but for whose dream? Black median wealth is projected to be zero by 2053. They never fixed redlining, they just rebranded it as gentrification. They never ended Jim Crow, they just turned it into mass incarceration. More Black men in prison today than there were enslaved in 1860.
And no lies detected. And speaking of the redlining, well, we just saw that when I went to that clip where they were having the meeting about all of these houses being sold in this particular neighborhood and no Black person being able to qualify to purchase any of them. Okay, that's what they have been doing. They still have redlining at the end of the day. It never stopped. Jim Crow 2.0.
That ain't a coincidence. That is by design. But the thing is, this ain't just about race. Yeah, black folks got the worst of it, but they ain't the only ones caught in this machine. They keep everybody distracted. Working class whites, Latinos, immigrants, poor folks of every shade, fighting each other while the real power stays untouched.
And how many times have I told you all exactly this? It's their best strategy, divide and conquer. It's always worked. And as long as they keep the rest of us down here bickering amongst ourselves over race, economics, crime, and all the other things, then the 1% global elite continue to stay in charge. Okay?
They convinced half the country that a CEO with their skin color is their ally, while their own neighbor is the enemy. Divide and conquer, same as always. So the real question ain't what happened to the movement, it's how do we bring it back? Because if they don't have to kill revolutionaries anymore, that means we already lost once. And winning again, that ain't gonna look comfortable. It ain't gonna look polite. The next wave of revolutionaries are gonna seem too much at first, too radical, too angry, too unwilling to compromise. But that's the only way to go forward. The civil rights movement was called extreme in its time. The labor movement was called un-American. Every fight for freedom has been smeared before it's been won. So what's it going to take? Because if history's got anything to teach us, it's that nothing changes till people get real uncomfortable. The system don't break itself. The question is, are we ready to break it?
That's the question, and it's a good one. I would say I don't think we are. Okay, it's too many black people that have become complicit in their own demise. All right, it's too many black people out here killing other black people. Too much gang banging, crime in our neighborhoods, and all of that at the end of the day. So we need to clean up and sweep around our own front door first. That's just my opinion. Okay, now let's talk about this crazy lady that was putting all this stuff in food, honey. Charlemagne the Devil gave her donkey of the day.
Razor blades and fishing hooks found in Walmart baked goods. And now Biloxi police have arrested this woman, 33-year-old Camille Benson.
At first glance, you might think this is a piece of moldy bread. Well, it's something worse, much worse. That's a razor blade shoved into a bread loaf sold at Walmart in Biloxi. Why would somebody do this?
I'm not sure. It's a really strange thing to do.
Lieutenant Candace Young says this strange crime started more than a week ago, on December 5th at the Walmart Supercenter on CT Switzer. A customer found a razor blade in a banana nut muffin.
Store associates, combed through their merchandise. They couldn't find any other compromised items. Thought, hey, this is just an isolated event.
And you were not contacted?
And we were not contacted at that time.
2 days later, on the 7th, a customer at the neighborhood Walmart on Pass Road found a razor in a loaf of bread. But police were not called until the 15th, after yet another customer at the Supercenter found razor blades in a loaf of brioche bread.
They did another sweep of their merchandise on display for sale and found multiple loaves of bread that were compromised with razor blades. They also, at that time, found a muffin that had a fish hook in it. Somebody had poked those items through the plastic packaging.
So this wasn't an accident during manufacturing. This was willfully somebody...
Absolutely. They also combed through all of their merchandise in the back that's not displayed for sale and found nothing that was compromised.
Miraculously, there have been no reports of injuries.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy, okay? Why would somebody do that? Bunch of weirdos walking around. Okay, sad to say. Just walking around, just causing mischief and mayhem at the end of the day. All right? So anyway, y'all be careful out there. It definitely have to be some mental issues going on with her. I mean, more likely than not, probably, but then again, she could just be nefarious. I mean, I don't know. It's so much demonic activity going on at the end of the day. Who can guess? Okay, so with that all being said, listen, I'm waiting to see what's coming out with this next batch of Epstein stuff. Probably nothing. Like I said, probably another nothing burger. And Bongino is gone. right in the nick of time. I feel like personally, I think that he left because he just didn't want to be caught up in any of the stuff that's going to eventually come out. Okay. With all of the foolishness they've been doing with the war crimes, okay, with the filing fraudulent charges, frivolous charges against Comey, Letitia James, and all of this foolishness. I don't think that man wanted to be a party to it at the end of the day. And he definitely seems to have more integrity than Kash Patel's no good self. Nene said, don't hold your breath, Queen. Okay. Anyway, with that all being said, it is diabolical, right? With that all being said, I'm about to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please hit that like button on your way out. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. And I may be back later. Oh, hold on. I have to show you all this. Hold on. I got to show you all this. It was so disgusting. Let me just tell you all something. So this guy went to this restaurant. He drove like 3 hours to get there because they had like a special where they were serving like I guess like a Thanksgiving meal or Christmas meal for $600. And so he went and ordered it. The food, he said it was a scam. He said there's no way they're offering all this food for $600. He didn't believe it. And then he said he's going there to prove that it's a scam. Let me tell y'all something. When I tell you, you have to be out of your mind to pay that kind of money for this food. Let me just share my screen. This is all a hot mess. Now, if anybody in here thinks this food actually looks good, please let me know. Because it looks like a train wreck waiting to happen if you ask the Queen.
$600 Thanksgiving meal was a scam. Oh, shit. So I called.
2 meats, 3 sides for $6.25. It's enough to be about 45 people.
She told me it feeds 45 people. I thought it was complete cap. So I ordered it, drove 3 hours to go pick it up, ready to expose the out of these people. You hear me? Got the food and I noticed. For $600, this is way too much food. But let's see if the quality matches the price. Reviewing Let's Eat Soul Food in Durham, North Carolina. First, we got turkey wings. I gotta hurry up because my family there pissed the hell off. So I've never had turkey wings or turkey legs for Thanksgiving, but this right here, this is something I can deal with. It's moist, tender, easily rips off the bone. Seasoned just enough. This joint look like a oven roasted turkey blicky, don't it? But it's good. Oh, we got a whole pan of ham. I mean, it's decent. So I'm sure they took a couple of hams and just sliced it and poured brown sugar honey glaze on it, which for $600 ain't bad. But I will say it is a little dry. Got some juice down now. Food so far, it's decent. Pan of garlic mash. Where the hell should I cut this thing at? Yeah. Man. So they made these with red skin potatoes, right? But they used just the right amount of garlic to make my toes go from here to joints are curled up right now for sure. We got a whole pan of mac and cheese. I don't know about the mac and cheese. I ain't gonna hold you. Yo, I feel like if this had a little bit more
Y'all see that dry arse mac and cheese? Y'all see that? Oh, there's no way in the hell I'd have paid $600 for it. I don't care how far I drove. Okay? When he got there and saw that, so why did he pay for it? Okay, this food looks egregious, but let's continue.
cheese and...
Can you hurry up, please? We're hungry.
Okay, all right, I'll be there in a second. What them big bags? Hungry, boy. Quality cheese would have worked. Pre-shredded bag cheese curdles like this. And where's the motherfucking cheese sauce so it won't be so damn dry? This is the greens. I will say, I know they look dry. All the juice wasted in my back seat. Pissed off about that. But what makes me even more mad is I ordered pork in my collars. Why in the fuck is there not any pork in here? So now I'm about to turn up a little bit because I feel like you're trying to play me in my motherfucking face. I got to take this bullshit back into the house with them big bags and explain to them why this ain't got no pork in it. They about to be pissed. And the collars ain't worth a damn. Oh, this is a piece of shit. And lastly, banana pudding. So I'm not a huge banana pudding fan, but this is decent. All right, so hear me out. Did they f me on the greens? Absolutely. Did they f me on the mac and cheese? You goddamn right they did. Was the ham dry? a little bit. They should have just gave me the whole ham. But that's neither here nor there. What y'all gotta understand is everybody don't eat pork. So not only did they give you a whole pan of ham, they gave you 20 turkey blickies too. If you're a person that did not want to go shopping for Thanksgiving, this was a decent buy. People said this $600 Thanksgiving meal was a scam. Oh shit. So
That clearly looks a hot ass mess. Okay, I'm sorry. There's no way I would have paid $300 for it, let alone $6. He must have money to burn. Okay, that macaroni and cheese was so dry. Okay, it was absolutely nefarious. Okay, what y'all got to say about it? And that ham. First of all, you didn't give them a whole ham for $600. You cut up slices that look dry as I don't know what. Threw a little juice in there. Yeah, that definitely wasn't worth $600. And then a 3-hour drive. And then, first of all, he was going to feed that to the people in the house, and he's eating all out of it with no gloves and all that. Just picking up turkey wings and whatnot. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a no for me. Okay, the banana pudding didn't even look good. Y'all see it? Well, OG Patrice said it's trying to be the next food critic like Keith Lee. It looks a whole hot mess is all I'm saying. Okay, so anyway, listen, I might be back later, you all. I don't know. I will be back if there's some breaking news, but even if there isn't, I still might be back. Mel said he got robbed. He clearly did. Okay, that just looked disgusting. And those greens, those were supposed to be collards. Yikes. Okay, it looked like a big pan of spinach with no seasoning, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, with that all being said, everyone enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. Double check and make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications. Until next time, beloveds, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got